everybody, Vermbit here. In this tutorial, we will go through the blueprints of the Trajectory Part 2 right now on the marketplace. So if you have purchased the package, you will be able to understand how all the blueprints interact one another. I will go through the player blueprint, then inside the player blueprint, there is the spawn of the weapon trajectory blueprint that has all the trajectories of the weapon you can launch. And then I will pass to the enemy blueprint, and I will show you the options you can apply in order to change the enemy behavior. And finally, the column destruct, this blueprint here, which can be a column, but you can put any kind of mesh. And I will show you also the option here, what you can change, and the destructible mesh you can put. Okay, let's start with the player blueprint. I just remind you the keys. Here you can see the keys you can use during the gameplay. There is also the F key to put full screen or not. And I will go through the player blueprint now. So if I open the player blueprint, you can see all these options I set inside. I want to pay attention on the change weapon type. So if you press the R key, you can change the weapon type. Actually, I set 3 weapons, which is this boomerang, and then you have also this 3-blade boomerang, this 2-blade boomerang, and the axe. Of course, you can put whatever weapon you want. Just a suggestion: when you put a tip, just check the dimension of the weapon. So you will go to put something similar to these. So you create your weapon and try to put the same dimension in order to be consistent. Go back to the player blueprint. There is also the slow motion on and off, so you can set the slow motion active or not when you destroy the enemy. And I will go directly to the part where you launch, you visualize the trajectory of the weapon, and then you launch the weapon. So basically, when you press the right mouse button, you visualize the trajectory of the weapon. To visualize, you spawn the BP weapon trajectory, which is the same that you spawn when you launch the weapon. It's the same blueprint. The only thing that changes is an option that I set here, just view trajectory. So if you want to view the trajectory, you set this true. And when you set this true, all the options here will not be valid anymore. So you just view the trajectory. If you want to launch the weapon, you set just view trajectory false, and you put all these options correctly. So let's see, let's go through this before. So when you set just view trajectory, you can see the trajectory in game, and you will select this trajectory here, this variable here. This is an integer, and you simply go through a cycle of the weapons you have. I set 3 weapons, so every time you press the right mouse button, increase the value, and then starts again from the beginning. So this is the result. Okay, so we had seen how to visualize the trajectory. So you just spawn this blueprint with this variable true, and don't care about all the other options apart from this. And when you want to launch the weapon, you spawn the same blueprint, as we said, without this flag true. So this will be false. The other options you have when you launch the weapon are the scale. Here, when I launch the weapon, I set the scale to 2 because the weapon will go far away from the player, so it's better to make the size double, otherwise it's too small. This is the weapon mesh, this is the material. If the weapon mesh, the axe or the boomerangs, they don't have their own mesh, you force some material here with this weapon material. And here you have the velocity. So this is the velocity of the trajectory and the speed of the rotation of the weapon. So if you want to increase or decrease the speed. And then we have the same spline trajectory as we have here in the visualize. So you visualize the trajectory, and then you launch the weapon on the same trajectory. And this is a standard setting to make the weapon stay horizontal and align with the camera view. And then you can select if you want to make the weapon rotate clockwise or anti-clockwise. So this is up to you. As a default, is rotating anti-clockwise, but if you want to set clockwise, you just flag this. And this is loop. This is an option I set because at the beginning I created this blueprint to make planets rotate around other planets, so basically satellites around planets. And so this was the loop to make the rotation never ending. So I will go inside the blueprint and I will show you better. Let's open the blueprint. Okay, so here we are in the construction script. I want to start from the event graph. So you see here in the viewport, you can see all the trajectories. Actually, there are no meshes here on the splines. When you call this blueprint and with the right mouse button, you can visualize the trajectory. So basically, the part where you visualize the trajectory, it's here in the event graph, just at the beginning. You see I put all the comments here. And these are the three splines. I set also the color of the splines, the green, the blue, purple blue, and this the red one. So you see for each spline, I set this mesh and the material, the emissive material, so the green, the red, and the blue. This mesh here is in the initial package, like few days ago, was this spline mesh here, so the cylinder. Recently, I set this cone here because I want to give the verse of the weapon along the trajectory. So with the cone, I can set, it's like an arrow, I can set the verse. You will find this in the package on the marketplace, and as soon as the Epic team will update this, should be today or in these hours, let's say. So you update the package, and you will find already this mesh here. So you have this mesh here and the three materials. So when you press the right mouse button, you will see this trajectory here. When you go here in the construction script, I set this part here, the construction script, where you can edit the trajectory, because the good thing of this spline system is that you can change the trajectory of the weapon. So to edit the trajectory, for example, this trajectory here, the green one, I just connect this like this. So you go to the viewport, you compile, and you see immediately, you see also there is the cone and not the cylinder anymore. You see that you have the spline visible and highlighted like this. And here you can simply select the spline here. You see the points you have, and you can start changing the trajectory. So you set this trajectory as you want. You can delete a point. You can add another one like this. So it's up to you. You can create the trajectories you want. And the cone, as I said before, shows you where the weapon will start and all the path of the weapon, and then it will come back to the player like this. So if you want to change one trajectory, you do like this with the construction script. When you start the game, disable this. So you just do like this and you compile. If you want to change another spline, so this is the red one and then the blue one, you just connect like this and you have the red one. And the same for the blue one. You can put also all together. Just consider that this is calculating, the construction script is calculating real time all the meshes along the spline. So it's using the CPU calculation and can be slower the blueprint. So I show you all together just to be sure everything is working properly. So I compile. You see now it's lower because it's calculating all the. And in the viewport now you see all the three trajectories. So my suggestion is to disable all these and simply change the spline here, because it's much easier, it's much faster. One last thing about this blueprint: if you want to change this mesh and you want to put the cone on the trajectory or any other kind of mesh along the trajectory, you just need to do the change, of course, here in the constructor script, but it's just to you to visualize during the editing. But you have to change this here, here in the event graph, and also you change, so here, and also you open this function here, and you change here, add spline mesh. So this is the part where you need to change. And if you change this, it will show you whatever mesh you want. In this function, you have also this final option here. I set a flip-flop because I want to generate the trajectory with this kind of line. So not a continuous line, but one line, then a space, and another line. So if you remove this flip-flop, you will have a trajectory with a continuous line. So it's up to you. Now let's see the part of the enemy. So you select the enemy and you go here and you see under trajectory here you have all the options you can use. So you have the animation blueprint, which is the standard of the epic enemy soldier. This here animation standard pack. Then I set the maximum work speed, so the speed of this enemy, which is 250, so you can increase or decrease to make the enemy run faster towards you, towards the player. The mesh you want to use, the skeletal mesh you want to use for the gun, if the enemy can fire or not, the bullet, so when it fires, it spawns the bullet, so the angle of the bullet I set from 3 to 5, and the shooting frequency here in seconds, so it shoots every 3 seconds. Then the mesh scale of this blueprint, with this skeletal mesh of the enemy, I set 3. In fact, they are very big compared to the player. And this, if you want to make the enemy to be destroyed by the player weapon or to perform a ragdoll. So this at the beginning of the game. So initially they withdrew, they do the ragdoll. With false like this, they will be destroyed. This will be controlled in the player blueprint. If you open the player blueprint here at the beginning, you have this this one here. Enemy destroy on. So I set this. I force this this decision, so the enemy will be destroyed at the beginning. But if you press the E button, you can change this behavior. And also here I set these text here to see if the ragdoll is on, the destructible is on, and the slow motion on and off. So just to visualize them on the screen in front of the camera. And finally, the destructible mesh of the enemy, because when you destroy the enemy, you spawn a destructible mesh, and this will be the destructible mesh. If you create this destructible mesh here, you go inside the mesh of the enemy, you open the skeletal mesh. Here you have the skeletal mesh. If you have the enemy, you can open the animation of the enemy, or you set your enemy in that pose, let's say the pose when you hit the enemy. Then when you have done this, you click here, make static mesh. It will create a static mesh from this skeletal mesh here, like this, and simply right mouse button and create destructible mesh. When you create the destructible mesh, you will see the static mesh like this. You simply put this through, you select how many pieces you want the enemy to be destroyed. I will put 5 because it's not that slow when you do this. You click fracture mesh, and it will destroy this static mesh here in 5 pieces. Once it has done, you will see from here the preview depth 1, so you can see then the destructible animation from here. Now you see that the mesh has been destroyed in 5 pieces, and this is the destructible animation. You save this, and simply, now I didn't set the materials, but you simply get this destructible mesh and place it here. here is this one, which is 25 pieces, and you see, I show you here, you see, is destroyed the enemy in 25 pieces. That's it. This is the part of the enemy. So remember that you can manage the scale and all the options here, and the enemy can fire. Then if you go inside the enemy blueprint, you will see how it works. I fully commented this, so you will see better how it works on the enemy blueprint. The final blueprint I want to speak about is this actor you can place in the scene, and that can be destroyed by the axe or the boomerang that is launched by the player. So you simply use these options here to change one of these actors. You can also act directly from the blueprint like this here. It will have the column as the first mesh. I want to use this to show you the options. So you have the static mesh you can use. So you can use the cube or the column, for example, or any other static mesh you want. Then you have to generate for the mesh you're using a destructible mesh, as I said before. Create a destructible mesh, and this is the destructible mesh for the cube, and this for the column. Then you set here the scale, so you can set starting from 1, which is very small, and I set to 3. I suggest always to have, let's say, a nice performance of the destruction to set these always the same value. Otherwise, the pieces, the chunks of the destructible mesh, they don't appear really in a good shape when you destroy. If you stretch too much like this, for example, or you do like this, for example, when you destroy this, it will not be very, very good. I show you quickly. You see the pieces are not performing really good on the level. So I suggest to set always the same size of the mesh. At least if you want to make a different size, you create different mesh, and then you create the destructible associated, like I did here with the column. So it's better to work on the mesh instead of the size. Then what you can change here is these 3 vectors here. So these let you put every kind of mesh inside this box here. This is the overlapping box. The box that when you overlap this box with the weapon, it will spawn the destructible mesh inside, so it will remove the static mesh, spawn the destructible mesh, and you will be able to destroy with the weapon. So this is the box that catches the overlapping of the weapon. When you set, I show you here, when you set, for example, this mesh here, you see that the box is not aligned with the mesh inside. So you can use these 3 vectors to make the correction. For example, I can set this 100. You see, I'm moving the box on the z-axis. I set 200, for example, like this, which can be in the middle. And then I want to change the collision box, the extension. So I set 200, and you see I'm covering all the mesh inside. Let's put here 250, and it seems fine. I will put 220 like this, and that's it. This is the rotation. If I want to make a rotation, for example, I put 20 and it's rotating, so perhaps some mesh needs some rotation because they are not symmetric. So you can play with these, and you can set this on the scene, and then you can destroy. Okay, sorry, I didn't put the destructible mesh, so this is an error you can fall in. You see the collision is very, very strong because there is inside already this mesh here. And it has a block behavior. So perhaps if I set no collision to this, it should not be that stronger. Let's try again. on, of course, it explodes. So here you can put no collision, or you can put also overlap. So these are Unreal Engine physics. That's it, nothing more. If you want to ask some question, you put in the comments of the marketplace page or here in the video, and I will reply.